Okay, hello everyone. My name is Nicholas M. Jaddy, and this is the memo revision activity. So my primary goal in reviving this memo was basically to make sure that this busy receiver, John LaPlante, I believe is how you pronounce it, could immediately understand the urgency of the situation and act on the request for approval without having to read closely or obviously hunt for key information. And one of the biggest takeaways from the module 3 readings that I found is that people in business, read for instrumental purposes, right? They scan first, then decide whether something deserves their time. So I approached this memo assuming that LaPlante might only read the subject line and the first few lines of the new memo. So for reordering the information in the original memo, I felt the most important information, which was the risk of the flooding and the request for the approval, was buried near the end. And based on the Module 3 concept of strategically selecting content, um, I moved the most urgent information to the top, which is why I revised the subject line to clearly state the purpose, which is the immediate approval request, freight tunnel repair. And I feel this aligns with the idea that the receiver should never have to guess why they're reading a message. So that's why it should always be in the subject line. Moving on, another major change I made was cutting information that I felt LaPlante doesn't actually need to make a decision because the Module 3 readings emphasize cutting extraneous content. For example, the technical descriptions, like what the piles look like, or extended background on previous projects. Um, so these were I either condensed these or removed them from the revised memo. Um, and this information might be relevant to uh, engineers, but it doesn't really help LaPlante decide whether to approve a $10,000 repair, which is why I decided to remove some of that extraneous information around here. Um, and I also used bolding to highlight the critical facts throughout the revised memo, like the size of the damage, the flooding risk, the cost, or the timeline, because the Module 3 reading stressed that the formatting obviously should guide the reader's eye, which I feel is what the bolding tool is essentially used for, the most effective way to do that. Um, and also, kind of connecting this back to modules 1 and 2, I remembered that one key communication principle is to basically always tailor the information or tailor the message to the receiver's priorities. And obviously, LaPlante is responsible, right, for the infrastructure, budget, etc. So that's why I emphasize the risk of flooding the entire freight tunnel system and the fact that the tunnels regenerate revenue. So to kind of align with his priorities and his uh, responsibilities. And I felt this reframes the repair as a financial and sort of operational risk if ignored, which aligns more with LaPlante's goals, I feel. Yeah, so, and finally, I also, obviously made the call to action explicit and easy to find. So, right, instead of bearing the approval request, um, I end with a clear statement that work will begin immediately upon approval. And I feel that this reflects the Module 3 idea that effective business messages should make it obvious what action the receiver needs to take. So, yeah, thank you very much. This is my whole revision.